All right, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for joining and taking your time to check out this week's presentation. Let's just get right into it. Right off the bat, go ahead and type a Y in the chat if you guys are hearing my audio coming through all right. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Alex. All right, good. It seems to be coming through loud and clear, and everyone can see this Shark Indicators intro slide here. Awesome. Thank you, Robert. Okay, guys, feel free to use that chat during the presentation to ask any questions, and we'll get to those throughout and after the webinar. I see we have some regulars here. Stephen, Michael, I hope you guys are doing well. For those of you that are checking us out for the first time, welcome. My name's Ty. I'm one of the guys here at Shark Indicators. I've been with the company for a few years now, and what we do is specialize in automated trade management and strategy development for non-programmers. We build powerful tools for futures traders around the world, and on top of our live weekly workshops, we also bring in high-quality partners like Julie Wade to show them in action with their own strategies and tools. Now, we've been doing this for over 6 years now in the NT ecosystem, and we aren't going anywhere. Here we see some words from a few of our users. Feel free to check the others out at sharkindicators.com/testimonials. So real quick, let's take a look at the risk disclosure. Take a minute and look this over. Futures, foreign currency, and options trading contains substantial risk and is not for every investor. Okay, so let's dive into today's topic, which is focused around trading the meat of the move with Julie Wade. So Julie is a systems developer and independent software vendor for NinjaTrader, and she's been developing trading algorithms using our BloodHound software for over 2 years now. She's an excellent presenter for showing you what our software is really capable of. Julie concentrates on entering the markets using signals based on volatility, momentum, and volume levels, and her BloodHound templates reflect that. But like I said, let's just get right into it. That's enough from me. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic and the screen over to you now, Julie, so you can take it away.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much, Ty. I appreciate that so much. Good morning, traders, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful weather today in Houston. 70 degrees, blue skies, puffy white clouds. It can't get any prettier for Houston, let me tell you. Thank you so much for attending. Ty, I don't have the chat box. Can you hear me?
Yes, your audio is coming through
Okay,
loud and clear.
okay, thank you so much. We're going to have a fun time today. I'm telling you what. Um, this guy yesterday, Aaron Fifield, whom I'm sure a lot of you know, with Chat with Traders, great guy. He sent out a tweet, and I looked at it, and it was from that fellow with Quant Gorilla, and it gave me an idea for a new method of finding the trend. I mean, that is the most important thing if you're a trader, and it's the hardest thing to do if you think about it. What is the trend? Um, you're going to be looking at moving averages and they lag. And so I put them together, weekly, daily, 60, 15 on a fast moving average with my market analyzer. And it's working out great. I mean, don't kid yourself. It is doing great. But there is another way that you can find a trend, apparently. And I got the idea when I read that blog post, and I got Bloodhound out. And seriously, within 2 minutes, I had this fantastic linear regression envelope, and went back, you know, did some tweaking to it, and came up with some really killer charts that I'm going to add to the direction guide template, and we can use that for charts and trend bands, and we'll be looking at that today. Let me go through the agenda. So we're going to look at those higher time frame trending conditions using that linear regression trick, these envelopes and BloodHound, and I'll show you the charts and these different linear regression trend bands that I'm creating, like on the chart here on the left. That is a 68, 168 band on a 5-minute chart, and you can see how well the trend is. And on the market analyzer, of course, it got very, it sold off after the news announcement or the FOMC event. Um, they all went red also. So I've got them on a 15-minute time frame. You have to choose a time series, and that's something that my members can customize. I'll show you how to do that. So if you want to use it on a 60-minute chart, or a 15 or a 5-minute chart, you can set it up to trade the time frame that you're interested in, and then also be able to play with the different levels that I've coded into the template on your charts, and use these different bands, and hopefully that'll help you um, get some trades using this linear regression trending condition method. We're also going to look today, which I'm so excited about, and thank the Lord for Daniel Rowe. I've got to tell you, he's got the best Fibonacci indicator on planet Earth. He's allowed me to use his indicator with my BloodHound templates. And thank you so much, Daniel. The members that have my templates, all they have to do is go to Daniel Rowe's website, or anyone can, and we'll give you that link and show you how to register and download that um, auto fib retracement indicator. And I'm using it with my high-low 2 BloodHound template and love it. Just absolutely crazy about it. And I'll show you what that looks like on the high-low 2 template, and then we can see how I'm using that in Blackbird or Raven to auto trade those fibs, or my triggers. I'm using EMAs as triggers. So everyone that, all the algos respond to these same moving averages, 10, 20, 50, 89, whatever, those are the standard day trading moving averages that the algos, code into. So we're going to I've got those as triggers that you can take, and or these fibs. So it's working out fantastic. I've got several members that are just loving this indicator. So we're going to have an open house Thursday and Friday. So you'll have plenty of time to come in and see how these charts interact in the markets in a live market condition. Markets are closed now, just closed. And we can trade these charts and using various methods with Raven and Blackbird, and even, discretionary trading. And also today there will be a offer through the end of the month. If you have not purchased BloodHound or Blackbird, please go to their website and download a free trial and see if you like it. And then if you do and would like my JATS template package, come back, and I've got a special price on that for you that I can offer you. Or if you prefer, you can just purchase it through them. The Bloodhound and Blackbird, you would need to get the JATS template package through me. And maybe they'll be able to sell those for me one day. That would be nice, at their website too. But for now, you just have to come back to my site and pick up that template package, and you'll be good to go. So with that said, let's get into the webinar. Today, again, we're going to be talking about this linear regression. And this is a standard NinjaTrader indicator that I've used in Bloodhound to put these plots together. And as you can see in the description, this indicator, the linear regression indicator, plots the trend of a security's price over time. And so I'm using this on, like a 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 60 minute chart, and I love it. I even put it on a Uniringo to see if it would work, but I think the high-low one is the best template on the Uniringo. And I think you'll see that if you get this, my members, I'm going to be sending this indicator and chart templates out to you in the next day or two. I think the Uniringo should get the high-low one. It's more accurate. But you can definitely enjoy this trend concept on the 5 minute, 15 minute, 60 minute chart. And it was very simple. Like I said, it took me less than, I think, 2 minutes to put this together. I was up and running. I just love BloodHound. Thank you, Jeremy. I mean, seriously. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me see. I was going to go to do something else, and this is what I need to do. So the linear regression trend envelope can be used for trend identification. The reason we can do that is it is faster than the moving averages. So that is the advantage of using the linear regression trend envelope over the normal moving averages, the less lag, and that means it responds more quickly to changes in direction. And that makes linear regression trends an ideal intraday directional trend identification technique. Don't confuse this with the linear regression lines that you can put on your chart, which are the straight lines fitted to a series of data points. What I've done is something different. This is just giving me the trend. Um, and what I've done is plots like an envelope of these endpoints through a series of linear regression lines drawn on consecutive days. So I've done something a little bit different. But again, it was just like super, super simple to put together. Um, and why I chose the numbers that I did for my chart was, just in keeping with the standard deviations and this 3 sigma rule of thumb. Um, you have, of course, the typical bell curve that you're all familiar with, and you know your standard deviations of your data set, 68%, 34 on each side. So I've used the 34, the 68, and the 95, and a 168 for an outer level, so that I can get that on like the 5 minute chart in a lower time frame. And the 168 was actually recommended in that Quant Gorilla article too, so I used it. So I think you'll like it. And this is what it looks like. I mean, check it out. This is a 30-minute chart. This is that Friday where Price and the NQ gave us that great rally. And here is the example of what it looks like responding much faster than the moving average. Um, I'm trying to find my screen highlighter. Here it is. So you can see here the trend changed, but we're way above the moving averages. So this is just fantastic. I've got a 68 on the chart, and then this band down here is a 168. So the way I've set this up, I've got it on the chart that can actually kind of help you if you wanted to trade it or auto trade it. But with a little bit of a moment, I can't not put momentum on anything I do. So I've got some momentum on the chart, and the let me get these drawings off. There we go. And so I'm just so excited about this linear regression trend methodology. Again, this chart template will be available for my members within a day or two. I just have to do the documentation. Templates are ready to go, and I will include this in the template package. In chart templates and stuff that I work on, I just add to the template package. I don't charge separately for this stuff. And so my vision is I'll be adding and taking out when necessary, to make room, but I'm just adding at this point to get a library of templates. Here's what it looks like on the market analyzer. And again, this is through a time series, and this is today. At the time I took the snapshot, this was before the market started turning down. And again, it did sell off quite a bit at one point before the market closed and then sort of bounced back. But this was very early on, right after the announcement and initial spike up. So I'm very pleased with the responsiveness with it. But again, it's not going to be as fast as the weekly, daily 60-15 fast trend indicator that I have on the market analyzer. So you'll have your ability to choose between the linear regression market analyzer as a template and or the standard weekly, daily 60-15, or you can use both. And I think I'll be using both going forward. I think it will help. And the trick with this is that you can set the time series yourself. So like I said, if you want to set it for a 5-minute chart and just get real fast trend signals, or if you want a 30-minute or a 60-minute, 15-minute, whatever, you can set that up in the columns. I'll show you how to do that once we release this and for the members. Going through the slides just a little bit before we look at the charts, and we're going to take a long time to look at some of these charts and talk about them. What I wanted to bring this to your memory is so that you will remember it. The biggest, the largest thing to take from this book is that the trends return to the moving averages always, always, always. And this is how Jesse Livermore made his money. He waited for them to do the impulse move, return to the moving average, see how they reacted, and then he would pull the trigger. And that's all he did, basically. Isn't that a hoot? So he traded pullbacks. And if there's one thing that you want, your cliff notes, don't have to read the book now. That's what I want you to remember from this book. And here is Daniel Rowe's indicator. It's called the TTP Auto Fib Retracement Indicator. And I color code it differently than Daniel has it. But you have your standard levels 23.6, 38.2, 50, 61.8, and this is 78.6, I think. And it's fantastic. The best method for trading this, and we'll see my triggers, my strategy requires that these tails cross through the fib and then cross back through. So it's going to go down and then it triggers when it goes back in the other direction. So that's how it was set up to behave. And I give you fib levels that you can set up to either auto trade if you want to just trade the 61.8, for instance, or the 23.6 seems to be a popular one. You can go back and look at your historical charts and figure out how they behave. Get a bar size for your Unirico. You can use a 119.1 or 98.1 or 90. It doesn't matter because we're not using the offset. We're using the tail. And it either pulls back to the area, and then we would have gotten a trigger long on that 50 here. And what is amazing is this trajectory. And this is how price works. So we come down to the fibs or the moving averages. I've got moving averages also that you can hit because algos are tied to those too. And either elect to take these at the fibs and triggers or set it up to take just triggers, EMAs, or just fibs or however you want it. And you can even trade this in Raven one at a time. So you could set it up to take, a 20 trigger 2, for instance, 20 EMA, and set it up on a 20 tick bar, a 119 1, and there's so much you could do with this and just pick them off. I'll show you what that looks like with the standard NinjaTrader indicator that is the swing indicator that we can add to the chart, and it will plot the high and low of whatever swing you elect to choose. This fib indicator is based on that swing indicator, as a matter of fact. And but I change my swing size for the Uniringo bars. I don't match the Fibonacci level. I get a tighter that's too wide for the bar size that I use. So you just have to play around with it, and a 5 or a 10 would work well with the Unirinkos, I think, on the swing indicator. But you can wait for the bar to break through I have this set up on a channel, and it's on uh, once it pops on these closes start um, going off on the other side of the channel line, and here's the channel line. So here's the closes. If it backed up and gave you a trigger at that time, once you're closing on the outside of the channel, then you'll start getting trades. So I've tried to make it directionally proportional to these channels, and that way it eliminates sideways chop. Also, it's sort of a good chop filter. One thing to notice is this going sideways here. That's also a good time to either sit on your hands and either wait for price to cross this green, which will indicate the top or bottom of that range for the fibs. So if it crosses this to the downside, you're going to start getting your fibs are going to flip over. Everything but the 50 stays the same, but all these will flip over, and you're going to be going short. So here you have a directional bar change. If you were trade and it was at the VWAP, so what I recommend would be to put one contract on with a stop behind that bar. And then as these pull into your fibs or triggers, you can enter additionally or add on to your contract. I have triggers down here that will get you in before these fib lines that you could set up. And now I've got it so much drawing on it you can't see what I'm talking about. But so there will be a trigger line there that you'll be able to get a trade off of, so that you're in one short, and then you can pick up on it once the fibs roll over. Or if you just know price action and you know that price is going to respond at a major level, you can go ahead and just start hitting it, especially if it crosses through that last level and rolls over. Then you can really just start hitting it and then close your trade, get out. That's the secret of trading. Keep your money. So and especially before it goes into a opposite bar state. At the very least, exit whenever it changes bar direction, because you never know. You would expect that it would bounce at either the 50 or 61.8, but it sometimes won't. Sometimes it just goes right through. So double top, and you don't want to sit there holding it when you had all this money. So I take profits often, and I think that it really is the secret of a successful trading strategy, is the risk management and profit taking. So here's what it looks like on the chart. I've got it set up as a 61.8, and I'm not showing you the triggers per se on this, just the fibs. You'll see the triggers when we get to a live chart. And I think this is a great trading strategy, especially when you incorporate it with that linear regression trend technique and you know that you're trading long, for instance. You can just, say, I'm going to trade long. I'll trade those bar directional trades. And whenever I get a chance to take an outlier or add on to my position at my favorite location, I'll know when to do it. And that's what this is about. One thing, again, this is, I showed you this the last time in part one. uh, Make sure that you go to the Shark Indicators website, look in their documentation for multiple time frames, because I'm squishing a lot of data sets on the same solvers. Um, you can read about that a little bit. There's some approximation done for those calculations by the platform NinjaTrader, so just be aware of that. It's not going to be 100%, but it is very accurate, especially when you're dealing with large data sets like weekly data on a tick chart. You know what I'm talking about. So here is my bread and butter template I wanted to show you before we start looking at all these other charts that are going to look so different. This is my MACD on the left, where I also get a trend indication outside the channel. I'm all about, is it on the outside of the channel? That's where I want to be trading. And that's how I have most of my charts set up. Um, so that if I can, this is where I'd like to execute, trades for trend continuation, noting that my momentum indicator is, above zero, and making, good levels over here, watch your levels. And I have it coded so that you can see that it is above. I have another line I've added to it, whether it's positive or below that line, and that gives you an indication of short-term momentum if it's falling or rising. And just stay with the trend. Obviously noting standard NinjaTrader levels, R3, R2. I put two different pivots on my chart. I set it for the calculate intraday data as well as calculate daily data. So that gives me two different levels. And the algos, believe it or not, go to both. I learned that right away. So this is a great template. There's nothing wrong with having the high-low 1 template open on your dashboard as you're going through the high-low 2, especially while you're trying to get used to it. And I still use it. I still use it as a guideline for me. Um, have it open so that I can see, especially when it's coming down to a fib level and I'm looking at the tail end of a Unirinco and I have no idea, is it going to bounce or not? Sometimes it is nice just to wait for the bar to turn, and that way, um, or give me a bar indication that it might turn. As you can see, these bars indicate a reversal. You can get these dojis or hammers depending upon how you set it up. If you do an even number like a 7-7, you'll get like a little hammer. It'll get tiny and an inside hammer will indicate the reversal. When you double your bar size, you'll get the dojis. And just keep your eye out for these because these do indicate reversals. But using the combination of these methods, I find it very helpful for me. And we'll come back to this later, but I will have a special going through March 30th, giving you plenty of time to go over to the Shark Indicators website, get your free trial, see if you like BloodHound, and realize that when you get my template package, it's just really a starter package for you. It makes a very good starter package, I think, but allow you to have some signals right away and get you up and running, and also help give you ideas. And then you can um, attend the webinars with Zach over at Shark Indicators to learn about the products and how to use them. And there's plenty of free videos on the internet. So I'm going to minimize this, and we're going to look at some charts real quick. And this was today's price action. Here first, I want to show you that linear regression template that I was talking about, and what a hoot this was for me to come in and put this together in seriously 2 minutes. I was just so happy. Um, Let me show you a 60-minute, and this is a 68 on the chart. I have different levels that you can try. The 34 is the smallest level, 68, 95, and 168, which makes, a fantastic indicator telling you where this is not a trending condition. So if there's no red or green printing, that just means it's not trending. And here you can see that we started to trend down on this bar for the NASDAQ. It did a big whirly bird on the 15-minute, but this is just fantastic. And then I have a band here on the bottom that, I'm big on trend bands that will show you. Obviously, this is the 168. So you can put your chart on like a 68. And so this is a great indication, do not take these short. This one right here, you would get a short signal if you were on a trend system, because you were trending down and you got a uh, bear bar. So that would have given you a signal to trade down, and especially on the second bar, because it was confirmed by momentum inflection to the downside. But the linear regression kept you out of that trade. Isn't that amazing? So I'm thinking of all kinds of possibilities with this, like um, knowing when to buy the bottoms on the 60-minute wicks, for instance. Comes back in for those lows. Great place if you're going to be counter trend trading. And where do we trade to? We're not trading we're not holding on for like a large, trading to R3 or something. We're trading back to the averages. Where does price go? Back to the averages. And then it gets back either in the direction of the trend or rolls over. So I'm really, really, really excited about this little BloodHound template I was able to put together, and thank Aaron Fifield so much for sharing that and giving me the idea to do it. I, didn't realize that we could do that. I must admit. So super simple to put together, and I'm glad I was able to do that. And here it is on the market analyzer. So you can see that it's now very much bearish. Let me put this over here on the NQ. And this is coming off the bottom here. You can see some great runs. Now 120 is too small for the NQ. We trade a 59. So it's like you have to go through your charts and see what sizes match to the triggers and fibs. And I wanted to show it to you blank before I show you the template, because I wanted to give you an idea of, the thought process for this. So if you were in a short condition, at 15 o'clock, you would take your trade once it rolled over, and you would be in one short, and then each time it comes up to hit the trigger or fib, you're going to add on 1, 2, and So, oops, let me get rid of this drawing object. Pardon me. You know, 5, 6, 7 points. You have probably a lot of profit, so you're going to take it. This was a very, very whippy day because of the FOMC. It usually isn't as volatile as this. I mean, NQ will give you some range, and that's why this is a great strategy to trade. Um, and let's look at my template so we can go back and see the exact um, triggers and fibs. It's kind of hard to see, so we've got triggers here and then the fibs above it, and my indicator will allow you to set this up to trade them individually or trade all of them as they move. Now, something to note is sometimes you'll see a bar cross the moving average, but you're saying I didn't see a signal. It's got to cross a channel that I have set up, and it may not have crossed that channel. So there's your signal, but because it didn't cross my channel, you're not going to get a trade. So you could manually take it if you wanted to. I want more of a trend condition set up to take these because they're trading pullbacks. And I want to make sure it cleared the channel before it comes back in and starts taking pullbacks. And by doing so, I stay out of the choppy middle part. And I find that very helpful. And really, if you wanted to trade both ways, because of the range expansion that you're provided in this market, you can do that if you wanted to. Um, but here's a section that would be a good example. So if you wanted to trade, oops, here's the 50 fib. It's the yellow line. So you can see that when it crossed and recrossed, you would get that signal. The yellow line's down here, so it didn't hit it. Here is the 38.2, the blue line. And here is the 23.6. So you get the purple line. And that's why a lot of my traders will trade this 23.6. And the goal, again, I know that you've heard me say this, is you can minimize your risk and maximize your reward. So, and you can also set it to trail in Blackbird if you want to trail it many different ways. You can trail it either behind a trigger or by a dollar amount or by a percentage of your account, however you want to do it. And here is what the Blackbird shell looks like. I've got, the way this is set up is you're going to get 9 trades, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you wanted to use and trade all the triggers and fibs. So potentially you could get 9 contracts. So that's a lot for some people. So not to worry, if your brokerage account is set up and you're only allowed to trade, say, 2 contracts, you're going to get an error message. It's going to say you can only trade 2 contracts. Um, but, and it would only put on 2, it won't trigger the rest of them. But just to be safe, you can always save as and say that choose which one you want to. You don't have to choose all 9. So you can save as and just take either the trigger 1s and 2s, or say the trigger 2 and the 23.6, however you want to do it. And the triggers match the entry. So they go together. So make sure you keep the upper level and the lower level on the same save as. And then you would just delete the ones that you weren't going to use. Keeping your main template. If you ever mess it up, don't worry about it. I can send you another one for the master template. Just, maybe make a copy of it, back it up. Also, some things to note about this is this allow reentry on same bar. What this does is if you get stopped out, say this was an outlier here. Say you were trading 23.6s and it did stop you out. Say you had a 10 tick stop behind the 23.6. If you select allow reentry on same bar, once it goes back and crosses back over that line, you would get filled again. So if you would like to do that, check that. If you would want to wait for a new bar, a new dot to print, we call them dots printing, because I put dots on top of them so we could really see those closes in our targets, for our profit targets. Then you can do that. So you can just wait for a new dot and then get in an entry on the next pullback. When this instruments start moving, you get a lot of pullback. So you'll always find a pullback eventually. Sometimes they run, which surprises me, but crude will run sometimes. Like it'll sit there sideways forever and then it'll just like take off like a rocket for like, 30 seconds or something, and then the move's over. But this market, the NQ, gives you plenty of pullbacks. Another thing to be aware of on this template, so make sure you check or recheck that box. So another thing to be aware of on this template is when you first open it, you have to hit F5. And that is because I want you to have BloodHound open. If you're going to be using all of the solvers, set it the original run a version of BloodHound on your chart also to trigger 1, and run a Blackbird setup to trigger 2. If you set it to trigger 2, it's only going to hit your triggers, and those are the EMAs. And those are 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would have gotten you in on all 4 of these. It would have triggered 1, 2, 3, 4. So you would be long 4 contracts. It came to the level where it was either going to, this is usually the fib level that tells the algos you're out of room. You're either going to turn over and make a new direction, or you're going to go back in the direction of the trend. Sometimes these algos will come back and try to tag one of these, 1 or 2, the first 2, but usually it'll turn around on the green, the 78.6, to stay inside the range. But this 1, 2, so you're carrying 4 trades back to the dots. So if you leave yourself enough risk, or if you're going to trade all 4 triggers, realize that you're going to need that much risk plus a few ticks, 5 ticks on the other side of it or so. If you get it, an order on trigger 1. So otherwise, set close stops and don't worry if you get a stop out, because you'll get picked back up if it goes back in the direction of the trend. See what I'm saying? So I don't worry about the stop out so much anymore like I used to. So if you choose the triggers, it's only going to get the EMAs. You can choose the fibs, and that would be the down here 23.6 and 38.2, and then you'll start picking up fibs. But you can set this up to trade just a single fib, or set it up to trade either the 50, 61.8, 2 fibs, another chart to take the 23.6s, and you're going to have your ability to um, have the market analyzer up with your chart so that you know which direction you're going to be trading in, and then that'll help you make a decision on whether you want to put up a chart to take a deeper fib or a trigger. So we'll go into the trade room and we'll go through all of this again. And it's a lot of moving parts to this. It's kind of complicated. And Raven can trade these individually also. So sometimes it's nice just to throw up a 61.8 in the direction of your trend and set it for, 30 ticks, and just close those. Those would be a good auto trade, or not 30, 60, or something like that, 2 or 3 to 1. Hold on just a moment, please. Just a moment. Okay. And let's look at some of these charts together. Go back in time and take another look at this. Um, Put it on crude. Crude had a pretty good day today. Came off, I see, the last. Maybe I don't have all the data on my chart. Doesn't look like it came off. I guess a little bit, 49 to 60, but very nice move today. So this looks like a killer template for directional trade finding. Again, this is a 68, 168. Gets you in the trend direction when you need to be. Shows you when it's not trending per se, so you can get out. Follows the momentum. Now I have momentum on the top chart, but not on the band. I've put a little bit of customization for this chart. And the 34 will show you some of the retracements, but this is really meant for a trend filter, not tick by tick. And there's the 168. So that looks very good. And for the high-low 2, I don't use a 54. That's a little bit too much. A 49 or 34, or even a 20. 20 works pretty good. And I'll put this on, we'll look at a 49 first and then knock it down to a 20. And I'll put the swing indicator on it. So the 49 did pretty good with these pullbacks after that move. Got you in one, went a little bit sideways, but stayed inside the 38.2 and then took off. And a lot of pullbacks to the trigger 3. So mainly trigger 1, 2, and 3 pullbacks on the 49. If you put this on a 20 to either get a 21 tick chart or a 19, you're going to get more up and downs and more deeper pullbacks. Okay, so here is the pullbacks. And you can see that if you want to go with the, let me put this on trigger 1 and this on trigger 2. Okay, and this way you can not take the counter trend trades and just set it up the way I have it set up, that you're just going to sit out of the choppy parts and you'll get in some of these great trigger trades once it starts behaving again and it meets my requirement to go out of the channel. Now here, what you can do to, because it is trending in that direction, you can set BloodHound, I'm sorry, Blackbird, to only enable the longs and not the shorts. So it would disregard that short signal and not take it. So if you knew that you just were looking for longs and you wanted to put it on a short bar because you knew, knowing that you're going to get more counter trend trades back to the moving averages, because that's, remember, moves back to the moving average, um, just set your Blackbird to only take one directional side trades, something like that. And that way you can sit out of the chop and then get it when it starts trending again. But otherwise, I'll just go ahead and put it back on the 49. And I'll either trade the 49 on crude most of the time and wait for those deeper outlier triggers. Because when they do, like this first one, these first few after the first entry, you can see how well the system would work, because you'd be one long and then you'd be adding on, adding on, adding on, adding on, and then you're just going up this trajectory. You can either trade to a level or you know, whatever you would like to do. I don't see any questions. Ty, were there any questions?
Yeah, Trev is asking what the setting of your Uni Renko bar is.
Well, this one is 149.1. Forget the 98. You can just put a 1 on the end of that. Just put a 1. I don't use the offset for anything I do. It doesn't matter. I use the Fibonacci bar close on most of my other templates, and I'll show you that high-low one right now. So it's a 149.1, and you can just go through your charts and set it up and then see how far back they go to your EMAs and or your fib lines. And then I can put like my high-low 1 on the chart with or next to it. Like I'll have my 15-minute chart up and then I'll have a smaller Renko. And that way, this is my high-low 1. See this great move? I can just take my long reversals here and just start auto trading those once I get that nice directional trend going. And this is, guys, if I can just, impress one thing, forget all that linear regression, standard deviation. It's all good. This is what I want you to remember. Do you see how it's above the band? It's trading out, it's holding that band. That's when I want you to start with your ears picking up and just start hitting these reversals. And my template's set up for you to already take them or take the inflections. but the reversals will get you in deeper. And you can also do high-low long, and high-low long will put you in anywhere. So on the next bar, for instance, or not just the reversal, anywhere that you like, you come into the market, you see, oh my gosh, it's really taking off, get me in. Use the high-low long if you don't want to wait for a reversal.
Hmm.
So what is the other question?
Um, Amit uses the Shark Indicators backtest Renko bar. He's wondering where you got your Uni Renko.
It's a free indicator from NinjaTrader support forum. You can get the version 8 or 7 there at the support forum,
Okay,
and
very.
just set it up as a you know 50 tick and one, and it's the trend and the reversal. So I set the trend for one, I set my reversal for whatever I want, and I'm sort of like, going with these, the theory, if you're going to be a 50 moving average trader, set it up for a 50, and like crude is 25 or 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I said, that sounds good, and it looks pretty good. I used a 60 tick for NASDAQ. I could actually use a little bit bigger bar, but it has a big range because it's only $5 a tick. So what's the next question?
Adam is wondering where he can get more info on the templates.
Perfect. Well, come into the trade room tomorrow and Friday, and you can see them in the action and ask questions. Also, the website is at, let me see if I can type the website here, www.jautotradingstrategies.com. And let me show you the special I'm having about that. Let me put the slide back up real quick. And again, there's a little bit of a savings if you get my package with BloodHound, if you get it with Blackbird, or if you want all three, get a little bit better savings on all three. There's the price there. And this is valid through March 30th. My template package is if you're already an existing BloodHound user um, and already have Blackbird or BloodHound, you can just get my package for 1,000. And again, I put my direction guide template, which I didn't show you today, the high-low inflections, which you saw. That is the this one, and high-low 2, which you saw with the fib indicator. You need to get the fib indicator from Daniel Rowe's website, a free indicator, but you have to register with him. Again, thank you so much, Daniel. And I've got a great MACD template, which I love. I take my my market analyzer chart, market analyzer, and I put it on the chart, so you can fool around with those solvers. And got the trade room. So I've got that momentum indicator, which I love. It is oh, and there's the oops, sorry. There's the website, there's the email, and there's the Twitter. If you'd like to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. I'm thinking about taking the Facebook down. I may have to because he's like, I don't know what that stock is doing, but it's not good, right? My sister was like texting me right during the webinars, like, should I sell Facebook? I'm like, I can't talk. So I'm like, kind of late now, don't you think? I don't know.
Might have to jump back on MySpace.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think MySpace, right? Where did that go? So, okay. Anyway, come see us in the trade room tomorrow. Definitely go by Shark Indicators website. They've got tons of educational material. You can join Zach. He's got workshops on Thursday and Friday. He will teach you everything you want to know about the products. And they've got a ton of stuff online that you can review at your leisure, videos, and a lot of reading material. So
Here's a quick question, Julie, because a lot of people are asking about the trade room, how to join. Can you give us a quick walkthrough of going from your site to signing up for the trade room?
absolutely.
Mhm.
Just send me an email. Um, there, if you'd like to register, support at jautotradingstrategies.com and just say, send me a link for the open house. And if you aren't able to attend Thursday and Friday, don't worry about it. You can just, there is a link on my website. You can purchase a week, and that way you can see what those trading templates look like before you purchase the template package. But otherwise, just come by the website, purchase the template package and or the trade room, and send me an email if you have any questions.
Very cool.
Very cool.
And
But
Bruce,
like I said, I was just so happy when he sent that email out. I was like, did you know that you can get a trend with the linear regression? I'm like, who knew? I guess everybody but me. But I was like, it took me 2 minutes in Bloodhound.
that's why we built it.
I'm telling you what. Thank
And
you so much.
last question, and this is just a question that a lot of people have in their mind. Bruce was asking, he had to dip out early, and if we were recording this webinar, and the answer is yes, to anyone who jumped in late, we will be sending the webinar recording out tomorrow morning at the latest to the email that you signed up with.
And again, here is the address. Thank you, Daniel Rowe. Trade the Plan. Free members area is the place that you go. Register, and then you can download that TTP auto fib retracement indicator, and you can get that for free. Just go over there now and download it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I hope to see you guys Thursday and Friday. Register for the open house. Thank you so much, Ty.
Yes, thanks again, Julie. Guys, any specific questions for Julie, go ahead and send those to support@jautotradingstrategies.com. And any questions specifically for shark indicators, just send those to support@sharkindicators.com. Thanks again, Julie. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you guys next week.